Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and thank you for joining our Zerto 7 launch webinar. My name is Caroline Seymour, and I'm the Vice President of Product Marketing here at Zerto. And we're excited to bring 7.5 to market with many new exciting features for you and to the platform, and updates to our strategic partnerships. In this webinar, we will be sharing all of the details with you. Now, just as a reminder, we will have a Q&A at the end. So please enter any questions that you have in the Q&A on the right-hand side of your screen, and we shall get them answered. Now, with me today on today's webinar, I have Rob Strechay, our Senior Vice President of Products, and we have 3 special guests joining us. A key aspect of 7.5 is the work that we've been doing with our strategic partners. So I'm excited that we have Michael Adams from VMware, who is the Senior Product Marketing Director for the Cloud Platform Business Unit. And he has been with VMware for over 12 years now, holding multiple roles at VMware. Second, we have Ung Oh, who is the Head of Product for Microsoft Azure Disks and Files on the Azure Storage Engineering team. And he is responsible for the overall Azure Disks and Files business, including the product strategy, business growth, customer engagements, and delivering new features. And lastly, we have Chris Powers, who is the Vice President and General Manager at HP, responsible for the design, the development, and marketing of storage technology products across all phases of the technology landscape. And you'll be hearing from each of these during the course of the webinar. So welcome, gentlemen. Now, our strategy has always been to work with strategic partners that provide key services to your organization and to ensure the tightest possible integration. And every release, we work closely in collaboration with these partners. For 7.5, we have focused significantly on deepening these relationships and partnerships to deliver new and exciting features that I think you'll see huge value for in your VMware, your cloud, and also your backup deployments. And so now let me hand over to Rob to walk you through the core pillars of the release. Rob?
Thanks, Caroline. Let's take a deeper look now, and let me describe to you the pillars that made up Zerto 7.5. Really, we focused on enhanced security. How do we bring out the security, the native security within our hypervisor and cloud platforms that we partner with? Also looked at cloud agility and how we foster the movement to, from, and between clouds. Also making platform updates and being able to go deeper with integrations both on the long-term retention side as well as the hypervisor side. And then always looking at how can we give more information, more data to our customers so they can make better choices with their infrastructure. And we'll talk to that with our advanced analytics. So we're going to take a deeper dive into enhanced security. One of the big pieces that we'll talk about this morning is support for VAIO and using this in highly secure environments. And we'll kind of take a next level down in a minute on what that means. Next on the list was deeper security integration with Azure. This was Azure managed identities. This helps our customers, again, be more secure in their deployments within cloud. Similarly, we brought out support for AWS Identity Access Manager that helps our customers, again, control who has access to what parts of their cloud. And then also for highly secure environments, we brought out support for FIPS 140 servers. This way that you can actually deploy us on those certified. This has a huge impact on people who are doing FedRAMP, and in particular FedRAMP High. Going a little deeper into VAIO now, I want to invite Mike Adams from VMware, who's a Senior Director in the Cloud Platform Business Unit. He's going to take us through and kind of explain what's going on with VAIO, what it's about, and how we can make better use of it. Hey, Mike, how are you doing?
Hey, Rob, how are you?
Good, good. Good to have you along.
Thank you so much. And we're so excited about this particular partnership. As you know, we've been going on 10 years within the TAP program, the Technology Alliance Partner Program, and so we're so excited because now what we finally have is a certified API structure, and really providing what we believe is the premier API for data protection and just overall DR. So we're so excited to have the API for IO filtering, which we affectionately know as VAIO. And really the case there is trying to make vSphere replication aware. And when we have that type of certified capability, we're going to talk about a couple of really unique functions that we have that we can deliver into the Zerto environment. But what's also really cool is now vSphere is aware we can do things like support live migration. We can also do things like support encryption. So we're really excited about those types of capabilities with this new certified API structure.
That's great, Mike. Now, why don't we take it a little bit even deeper than that and kind of talk about how Zerto is leveraging VAIO to enable some of these other use cases?
Yeah, absolutely. And you kind of see the pieces across the board here, but obviously starting with the secure boot capability and automation, secure boot for vSphere has been really important as we think about how we make sure we provide security at all the different levels. And when you do the boot sequence, making sure we have this capability so you know that it's a good known state. And the real key here, as we think about it, is if we didn't have this certified device driver in place, we wouldn't be able to do this. So secure boot wouldn't be offered. And so we know that there's no exposure of those root credentials when we go ahead and deploy servers. And then we also know that we can provide some great automation and upgrades with this secure function in hand. In addition to that, we have the cluster capability specifically for the virtual replication appliance from Zerto. So now that we have again, this API structure in place, you have the ability to roll out the technology on all the different hosts that are in the cluster. So that's very significant as we don't have to get into any of the manual efforts that we may have done in the past. And then really when you think about the kind of coup de grace on top of this is the idea of having this storage policy-based management capability, or what we affectionately call as SPBM. That's the structure within vSphere that allows you to set up all different kinds of storage capabilities and policies along with the replication piece. So now we have within that same policy, you can have both production and recovery volumes with the VAIO capabilities, because you'll be using those at both sites. So now having this deeper level of integration, for us, it was really about making sure we could minimize latency, remove any type of stability risk, and make sure that all these functions would go ahead and work. And again, this certified API structure really allows us to do that. And so, we're in it to win it with Zerto, and we're really excited about providing these capabilities to our users.
Thanks, Mike. I think that gives the folks that are looking at Zerto and that are Zerto customers a better idea for what they're going to experience when they go to the VAIO version. Now I want to kind of jump ahead a little bit and kind of show them that, to your point, really nothing changes outside of what they know already. We have the Zerto virtual replication appliances, or the Zerto VRAs, not to be confused with VRA from VMware, two different things. But really, when you start to look at it, we have a VAIO version of our virtual replication appliance with a VAIO version of our ZVM, or Zerto Virtual Manager. This is the brains and the horsepower to move the data from one place to another. What's nice about the solution is you can go VAIO to VAIO, VAIO to non-VAIO, VAIO out. We have all kinds of different ways to move this and not lock people in, so that they can start to move there, because VAIO is, as Mike was talking about, at a cluster level deployment. So I think there's some really neat things and some powerful things. We're just scratching the surface of what we'll be able to do together. But again, to Mike's point, I think this was fantastic that we're getting deeper together and really embracing the partnership that we've been going on since 2010. So moving on to the next pillar, cloud agility, and what we've been up to with Microsoft, we really started to enhance the performance and scalability that we bring to our solution with Azure by adding the use of native Azure scale sets. Also, we added support for managed disks. Previously, we had managed premium and standard. Now we go full managed. We'll talk about that more in a second. We added mobility between Azure regions and enhanced that. We also have support for Azure VMware solution powered by Cloud Simple. Talk about that more in depth in a minute as well. And then we also are adding support for UEFI type servers. This will be very important for those folks using what is replacing BIOS and the newer versions of Windows. And you'll see this in coming attractions as we roll this out in updates later this year. So now it's my pleasure to welcome on Ong U, who is the head of storage and file services for Microsoft Azure. How are you doing today, Ong?
Rob, doing great. Good to be co-presenting with you here today.
Great. Hey, can you give the folks that are listening in, tell the audience a little bit more about the Microsoft and Zerto partnership and the value that we're delivering to our customers?
Hey, Rob. Thanks for asking this question. Zerto has been a great partner in resiliency and disaster recovery space for many years. Our partnership goes beyond go-to-market campaign like this. Two engineering teams have been collaborating very well and working very closely to ship cross-cutting features like Zerto support for managed disk, so that our joint customer can benefit from all-in-one IT resilience platform. This close partnership enables rapid feedback from our joint customers. As a result, it helps evolve our Azure storage and disk offering to align very well with customer needs, especially in IT resiliency and disaster recovery space.
Great. Yeah, I think it's been a lot of fun. We've seen people like Spirit Airlines and others who've really been taking advantage of things like managed disks. I think what we've seen is that the uptick in Azure really, Microsoft Azure has fast become a leading cloud platform for the organizations that we both work with. Can you tell us about, why that is and, why Azure?
90% of Fortune 500 companies trust their businesses to run on Microsoft Cloud and doing amazing things with that. When we discuss Azure with customers, 4 pillars pop really well: productive, hybrid, intelligent, and trusted align very well with the customers. Just to highlight some of our key capabilities of Azure, a customer can develop using any tool, language, or framework and access our broad portfolio of 100 plus services with great end-to-end tools. Azure has unique offering in hybrid. Customer can get a consistent experience whether in the cloud or on premises. Azure also offers 90 plus compliance offering, the largest portfolio in the industry, and $1 billion investment per year in security to protect customer data from cyber threats. When it comes to Azure storage and disk, we provide unique capabilities. Azure storage provides enterprise-grade durability with strong consistency. We have industry-leading 0% annual failure rate. When we talked about managed disk, the feature that Zerto is offering with the latest release, managed disk provide high availability for both availability set and for single instances. In fact, Azure is the only cloud with single instance VM SLA of 99.9%.
Thanks, Ong. Yeah, I agree. It's been great working with Microsoft on managed disks, and I think it's really helped us understand how Azure's built, how we build our product, how we take advantage of the native features that you're putting in, because you're always innovating. So we really do appreciate the partnership that we had there, and it's enabled us to actually provide that go to and go back. Like you said, one of the pillars of what you're trying to provide to your customers is really that hybrid nature. And we look at that and find that that's key to a lot of our customers. So with that, why don't you help us understand, with 7.5, we worked extensively with Microsoft and you and your team to be really one of the first partners to support that managed disks API that you've been working on.
Oh yeah, that's a great question. We're launching incremental snapshots interface that provide differential capability. This is a unique capability available only in Azure Managed Disk. What that means is that this unique capability allows our partners like you to get the changes between two incremental snapshots of the same disk. So that reduces the data footprint and time in copying snapshots so that customer can get a faster backup and much faster disaster recovery. Zerto has been one of the early adopters and the first in this case, and doing for this feature and then doing amazing things with that.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I know we've learned a lot, and Microsoft has gained a lot for having us really engage with that, and it's been a fun time. I know our engineers have definitely enjoyed it. Definitely a lot of work, and I think our customers are going to see the benefits of this. So I want to thank you all for coming on board with us, and thanks for supporting us.
Oh, that's my pleasure. We'd like to sync up with you at Microsoft Ignite in November.
Yep, see you soon.
See you.
So in addition to all the work we've done with managed disks, we also added more into our scalability and performance. A big piece of this was finishing out something we actually started in 7.0, which is the utilization of scale sets. This is where our ZCA, or Zerto Cloud Appliance, automatically scales out to allow more data to be parallelized across and to reduce the recovery time objective to minutes, or the RTO. We've already seen a 300% improvement in RTO. If you were at VMworld a couple weeks back, what you heard was about AVS, or Azure VMware Solution powered by Cloud Simple. This is where you have VMware natively running inside Azure and being promoted up through the Azure console. Zerto is happy to help customers looking to run production without moving away from a VMware stack and be able to use their Azure credits and consuming other Azure resources. We've already been seeing great success in a number of our customers that are utilizing this solution as a production and utilizing other pieces of Azure as well. So what is the Azure VMware Solution by Cloud Simple? Simply put, it allows you to go from on-premise to AVS, and that is VMware to VMware. So you get all of the advantages of Zerto, be able to do DIY, DR as a service in Azure, and stay on that VMware kit. So all of the knowledge that you have within VMware is still preserved. Also, this allows you to go region to region inside the AVS offering and stay VMware. This gives you the capabilities to be able to have failure over either back on-premise or across regions within Azure. Azure also allows you to do this natively between AVS and Azure native. And Zerto has the capability of doing this. So say you decide to use AVS as your production data center. Maybe you want to get rid of all of your on-premise kit 100%. Well, maybe you would move your production as VMs up to AVS and then actually use Zerto again to protect into Azure native. Why is this key? Because you can go region to region. Again, giving you the capability of not having to go and transform how those VMs run, not having to change the actual application, utilize the scale and economy of the AVS solution and the scale and economy of Azure native. It's a win-win situation. So on Zerto 7.5, let's take a look at platform updates. Always really exciting to our existing customers, but also showing how we're going deeper with two of our partners in particular, Hewlett-Packard Enterprise and VMware. At first, we'll talk about how we have deeper integration with Hewlett-Packard's Store Once Catalyst, and we'll go into that in a moment. Also, wanted to talk to you about JFLR and how we're actually enhancing our unified workflows for recovery by joining our search capability to our long-term retention and the journal. You might ask, what kind of value is an existing customer going to get out of that? Well, if you go and find a long-term retained copy, we automatically look for that same copy to see if it's still existing in your journal. So maybe you have a retention policy that every night you make another copy, and you have a 3-day retention in your journal. So if you're within that window, we would actually bring it back as you went and searched. We would bring it back from your journal versus having to go to the long-term copy and bring that back. Why is that great? Because it saves you time and resources. Same time, we've also enhanced JFLR, or journal file level recovery, so that you don't have to look for a particular SCSI ID or disk. True bringing back the drive letter so that, hey, I'm looking for this, it was on the D drive, I know that's where it lives, quickly going in without inflating the system and bringing that back. Also, as an addition for user experience, we simplified the way that you can create virtual protection groups, or VPGs. Previously, you had no way of being able to copy all of the settings from one VPG that you use as the main seed for other VPGs. Allow you in the actions dropdown to copy the VPG settings and then add new VMs into that new virtual protection group, saving you time and helping you do things repeatably. And lastly, we're always trying to improve how our customers can use resource management tools that are built into the native platforms like VMware. In this case, we've gone and added support back in for SDRS, or storage DRS. This helps our customers on the recovery site do load balancing across their storage, across their data stores to get more efficiencies. So let me give a little bit of background for those of you who aren't as familiar with our long-term data retention. Long-term data retention for Zerto means that I don't have to go and buy another tool on top of Zerto to do backup. So say I have retention or compliance capabilities that I have to now go and keep something for 7 years. I can do that with Zerto all in one package. And the big thing to understand is that Zerto's already replicating off-site. So you're going and making yet another or a long-term retained copy out of the journal. Why is that important? Because there is zero impact to what's going on the production side. We're already agentlessly, with zero impact, moving that data from your production site to the target site. On the target site, we then go and read the journal and make that copy off to another place, be it SMB, NFS, or in this case, what we're going to talk about is store once, utilizing Catalyst. So this is a big piece of how we're able to actually help you avoid all of these pieces. So let's go to the next level down on HPE, store once, and Catalyst. So this is the first native secondary storage repository integration that Zerto has done. With 7.5, we're announcing that you can now not only use NFS and SMB, but you can leverage the native Catalyst API to go to store once. So why is that important to our customers? Some of our customers already have native store once systems, either the physical hardware or the virtual appliance, and they want to utilize that as their repository or their secondary storage. We now allow them to take advantage of things such as source-side dedupe, compression, or all of the bandwidth efficiencies that it provides natively. This helps customers get more value out of their joint Zerto and HPE deployments. Going to the next level down on the partnership that Zerto and HPE have, I'm really happy to be able to invite Chris Powers, who's the VP and GM of the Collaborative Platform Division at HPE, in to join me. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing well, Rob. Thank you very much for the opportunity to spend a few moments with you this morning.
Glad to have you on. It's really been great having HPE as a partner and doing some co-development here with Catalyst. But really, what I want to get a better understanding for is what are the advantages and the value that our joint customers see by buying Zerto through HPE?
Certainly. So HPE Complete resells the best-in-class third-party branded products. And in doing so, that really brings with it three key values. First of all, this provides end-to-end solutions that complement and complete the HPE solution and offering, often supported with integration guides, tools, and predefined validated HP hardware configurations. Second, this allows our clients to build with confidence. The upfront validation minimizes risk of deploying partner products into the HPE ecosystem through our assured interoperability and validation. And then finally, just ease of procurement, right? Multi-vendor, single order, simplifies purchases of a complete systems via a single Hewlett-Packard Enterprise purchase order.
Yeah, that makes total sense. And I think that, again, this strategy has helped a lot of our customers as they see the value in having one place to go. They already have the relationship with HPE. It's been fantastic. But also, I think there's strong value in the message that we're taking out to the customer as well. And part of that is that, and I'll let you add some color to HPE's vision on hybrid data protection.
So Rob, our vision for hybrid data protection is threefold. First of all, it's on-prem data protection itself, utilizing the HP infrastructure and based upon hypervisor-based replication. And the real vision here is any-to-any replication and migration, both across the HPE kit as well as other third-party kit. The second is really reaching out and embracing the use of cloud as a data protection opportunity. So this means being able to move in and out of the cloud seamlessly. So this is what we call our cloud mobility. And it's to eliminate cloud lock-in. So we support Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, IBM Cloud as good examples. And we have a number of reference architectures that we have built, really highlighting how this can be utilized and put into place. And then, of course, we wrap around that the analytics, both from an HPE InfoSight standpoint as well as the Zerto Analytics. Now, what this also provides is long-term retention. And the integration with Catalyst really provides this ability to have the rollback to minutes, days, weeks, if not longer, to really provide that ability to, if indeed there is a crisis or a catastrophe that attacks or befalls the data center, that you have the ability to recover quickly and seamlessly and get your production up and running again.
Yep, we agree. And I think this has been great having you on. I really appreciate it. And I think that our joint vision and where we go in this co-development and go-to-market has been great. And we really appreciate your partnership.
Absolutely, Rob. And I look forward to us continuing to partner and grow.
So the next pillar we're going to tackle here in Zerto 7.5 is advanced analytics, one of my favorites. And if you haven't checked it out, I highly recommend going into My Zerto, logging in, looking at the analytics tab, and checking it out. What we've done for 7.5, and actually in the time frame because it's SaaS delivered, so we're actually updating this on a monthly basis, is that we aligned our user interfaces between the ZVM or the Zerto Virtual Manager on-premise with the analytics interface. This helps you have a better not only look and feel, but helps you consistency-wise understand how to navigate through analytics as well. Also, we've enhanced some of the user experience. We'd had a lot of great feedback from customers through our ideas portal and through My Zerto, as well as through the actual on-premise software, asking us for some custom views that they wanted to understand and some outputs, even CSV. Also, and I'm going to go a little bit deeper in the next slide here, on our new resource planner capabilities that we rolled out over the last 6 months as well. One of the most exciting parts of that analytics tab I was talking about is that you can actually go in there and see all kinds of data about your on-premise or cloud environment. This is a SaaS delivered service, part of your maintenance and support for our existing customers. It helps bring back data and present it to you to give you better ways of making decisions around your Zerto and your IT infrastructure environment. One of the things that we found is forecasting is complicated work. So we wanted to take some of that out of the hands of our customers and make it a lot easier. Specifically, forecasting around compute, disk, and networking is very complicated when you're trying to talk about replatforming, moving to another cloud. Maybe you're moving from on-premise to a managed service provider, or cloud service provider, or you're looking at going to something like Azure or AWS, and all your experience has been with VMware to VMware-based data centers. Well, that's very complicated. So for both our current existing customers with utilizing the call home data that's already coming home, and for prospects, if they go and leverage a small piece of software without even being a customer yet, they can get this forecastability to better understand, where should I place my data? What cloud should I go to? And this helps them also on the pricing aspects of it as well. In addition to that, the SaaS delivered platform that's part of our offering back to our customers will help our current customers understand better sizing capabilities about the recovery disks and their journal, which is really important in understanding, maybe I want to go from a one-day journal and disk, recovery disk set, to a 30-day journal, because I want to have more available to me closer for faster recovery further back. This helps you plan those types of endeavors out so that you can get a better feeling and a better idea of what those cost impacts are going to be. Again, really providing the information to make data-driven decisions around the Zerto environment. So to wrap up and bring back those pillars that we talked about up front and I've been going deeper on, you can see there really are no small releases with Zerto, and 7.5 is no different. We really are upping our game in the resilience and security while helping customers plan their cloud journey and enable cloud agility with our strong and deep partnerships. With that, I'm going to turn it back over to Caroline to take it home.
Thanks, Rob, and thank you to all of our special guests today. But now let me share a few important ways for you to get more information on Zerto and 7.5 before we go to the Q&A. We have created some new assets to ensure that you have all of the details of 7.5, and that can be found on Zerto.com. So please make sure that you check out all the latest information so you have what you need. Now, as you've heard from Rob and Ung, we have added exciting new Azure capabilities. And if you're thinking of moving to Azure and would like to try Zerto with Azure, we have an on-demand lab that allows you to try it now. And what's great is that it's available anytime, anywhere, from any computer, and it's at no charge, with no downloads or any infrastructure setup. And this is available to any one of our customers, as well as non-customers as well, so that you have opportunity to try Zerto with Azure. In addition, earlier this year, we held our annual customer conference in Nashville, so ZertoCon. And I'm excited to share with you today that we're coming to a city near you with topics like ransomware recovery and avoiding cloud pitfalls and how to be successful on your journey to cloud. And we shall have customers sharing their insights and free training. So please check out the link that you see here, because we would love to see you at one of these events so you can learn more about what Zerto can do for you. Now, lastly, we are convinced that you will want to take advantage of all of what 7.5 offers, whether that's the new cloud capabilities with Azure, long-term data retention with HP Store Once, or the new VAIO capabilities. So what we've done is to create an exclusive offer for you. So I encourage you to talk with your account manager on what's available and whether you're eligible. And now what I'd like to do is open up for Q&A. So looking at the questions, I've been looking to try and group some of these questions, and thank you everybody for this very active question and answer session that has been going on in the background too. But Rob, I've got several questions. I've been trying to group them. But first of all, the presentation and the recording of this will be available shortly, probably in the next hour or two, on Zerto.com. So you can go to Zerto.com, and there's a homepage banner, and you just go to the landing page for 7.5, and the slides will be posted, and all of the content and supporting assets will be there too. And then we will be sending out a link to the recording in case you would like to share that with any colleagues in your organization. Rob, so there were several questions with regards to 7.5 availability, so I thought maybe we should by addressing that.
Sure, yeah. So 7.5 right now for our VMware customers has been uploaded and is generally available. Shortly, over the next month, we'll be rolling out also the Azure and VAIO versions of 7.5 as well.
Excellent. And there was a question about compatibility with vSphere 6.7 Update 3 and VMware 6.5 UP3. I sort of grouped those two together, Rob. So, yeah. Sure.
So we have up on our on My Zerto, you can actually go search for the compatibility matrix, or even if you go into Google and just Zerto vSphere compatibility, you can pull it down. We actually just patched the latest version to be compatible with the U3, and we placed that up there as well. And so that is in the 7.0 branch is compatible.
Excellent. Then there was a question around Zerto supporting cross-technology replication, so between sort of VMware, AWS, or AWS, Azure, Azure, AWS. Maybe you could expand on that a little for the audience.
Sure, yeah, that's a great question. I think what's nice is because we abstract those different layers, be it a cloud layer or hypervisor layer, we don't really care, right? So we can go between, to, from, and between those different platforms, be it from Azure to Amazon, Amazon to Azure, Azure back on site, VMware up to the AVS solution that we just talked about, which is the Azure VMware solution, or even to Azure native, where you're actually transforming into a native running Azure instance. We do the hard work so that you can actually go and re-platform, so that we go and transform that VM into an instance when we go to those different platforms. So again, we can go throughout all of those and help you with that cloud agility.
Right, and there was a question around taking data from VAIO and non-VAIO in the same CC.
Unfortunately, right now, it's at a cluster level, which is why I kind of mentioned in the presentation here that there's a VAIO version. It's done at a cluster level. It gives us some advantages where you're doing some deployments. The VRAs are all deployed at a cluster level, so it's some simplified usability there with the VAIO version. But there's no way to mix what you would say is our SDK-based self-certed version with the VAIO version in the same cluster.
Excellent. And then actually following a little on from that too is that there was a question about licensing and what do we need. So we've added obviously the store once. There was a question about store once, whether there's anything additional or Azure. Perhaps we could just touch upon that.
Sure. There is a separate license for VAIO. It is a separately licensed version of the product. For Azure and for our normal VMware and for Store Once, if you have Enterprise Cloud Edition, that is all included in that version. If you go and get the VAIO version is the Enterprise Cloud Edition plus VAIO, and it's just a separately licensed piece of technology. But the rest of them are all part of all the single license. There is no Store Once license. If you own ECE or Enterprise Cloud Edition, you own Store Once Catalyst integration already.
Excellent. And then there there was a question about deduplication, which I think you actually, well, you did. You answered in the presentation, but maybe we just reiterate about 7.5 support for deduplication with HP
Sure.
storefronts.
Yep. So what we do is we've got a plan to leverage our partners. Dedupe is one of those things that's pretty mature, and there's a lot of different dedupe appliances out on the market. Be it our very tight integration, native integration with Store Once, where we utilize Catalyst. It has source side dedupe, so that means even before it's sent across the wire, we're deduping it using their SDK and the APIs. And then you also have, still, if you're using NFS, we have existing partners like Exagrid, where they have dedupe engines built into their hardware platform and secondary storage platform, and we take advantage of those as well. So again, we try not to pigeonhole our customers saying that you have to buy this or have to buy that, but you can leverage the technology and the dedupe technology or compression or encryption technology that you wish.
Great, and I was just looking at some of the other questions. I think there was questions about additional secondary storage, and there was one about, maybe you've answered that, can this be block level storage as well as, instead of just SMB NFS?
Today we don't do block level. We do it at the NFS or SMB or native integration with Catalyst.
Great. There were a few questions actually. If I move on to some of the cloud questions, maybe with regards to scale sets, you talked about scale sets, how we work with scale sets, but there was a couple of questions on the cost impact of Azure scale sets and any perhaps additional costs around that.
Yep. So actually, this is one of the reasons we went with scale sets. We looked at things like functions and our Azure Functions, which is their version of things like Lambda and AWS, which is serverless compute that you may hear all the rage about. We looked at what is the most cost-effective way that we can help customers reduce their recovery time objectives, their RTO, into Azure. One of the things we found that far more efficient than putting a whole bunch of ZCAs or Zerto Cloud Appliances up into Azure, if we use scale sets, actually scaling out for only the amount of time you need to do the recovery, and then we automatically shrink those sets down to nothing again, or down to one, helps reduce the costs of being able to recover into Azure. So again, we continue for our customers who have been using Azure, they'll actually see a cost reduction in the Azure resources needed to do their recoveries.
And then I don't know whether there's any additional comments you want to make on the performance benefits. There were a couple of questions around that.
Sure,
using
yeah. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
And I did mention it in there. What we saw in the initial testing and saw from our customers is that there was about a 300% increase, or actually 300% decrease in recovery time objective, going from hours to minutes for those recoveries. When we first rolled it out in 7.0, we expect to see an additional upwards of 300% increase or decrease in RTO again. So again, being able to, when you start to, it's the law of small numbers. When you start to get to small numbers, you're still dividing by small numbers. So you get to a point of no return, but we're going to get really, really quick in those recoveries. And it's been a years long journey on this to get it, and we're pretty happy with that, working with Microsoft and the Azure folks to bring this technology to bear.
Okay, and then just maybe if you could just remind people from the Azure Managed Disk support and what we support. There was a couple of questions on that.
Sure. One of the things I kind of mentioned during that was that, prior we've been going and you landed on unmanaged standard disk. So for a while, our customers have been saying, hey, we want to go to and, recover not in unmanaged standard in a storage account. We want to, go to the non-storage account oriented managed disks, premium disk, standard SSD, and standard HDD, which are all the three different types that they have within those, their most popular types inside of managed disks. Well, now you actually recover. So we do still land on that unmanaged standard storage. So there's a cost savings there on the blob storage. And then you do recover up to managed standard or managed premium, whichever you choose. And it can be done at the time of failover so that you have those effectiveness and you can land it. So if you have a SQL server and you want to recover on managed premium because that's what Microsoft actually recommends, that's not a problem, and you're able to go and do that.
Great, and I'm seeing several questions come in about upgrading from whether it's 6.5 to 7.5. Can you address some of the what would you recommend to folks with regards to upgrading?
Yep, so with all of our upgrades, you have to actually make a stop. So if you're at 6.5, you're gonna make a brief stop at 7.0 and then go straight to 7.5. So you can actually do them sequentially. Obviously, you have to bring along the VRAs, the virtual replication appliances, that is, and you would start to do that at the ZVM stage. So again, you can do them back to back to get all the way if you needed to go 6.5 through 7.5. And we have some details on My Zerto under support where you can actually go and Google that or search for that, and it kind of helps you understand what the upgrade path looks like.
Great, and then a question here on the VPG copy that we talked about. Does that also copy the selected VMs from the original VPG, or is that just a setting?
No, it's just the setting. So what it does is it basically builds you an empty VPG where you can then add in your new VMs to be protected. This way you get the settings, not the VMs themselves. So you're not going to end up with two VPGs with the same VMs.
Great. There were a couple of questions with regards to Zerto Analytics and the planner that you just, the resource planner that you just talked about. And I guess if I'm not a customer, can I get access to the planner, the resource planner? Was one question.
Absolutely. Yep. And I think I briefly, but what you're going to go do is you're going to go up to My Zerto, you're going to register, and effectively what you're doing is downloading the ZVM. But what we've done is without a license having to be installed, you can actually go and put in your credentials and connect it up to your vCenter. That way, the data is collected that's needed for Planner agentlessly. It's shipped up to our SaaS platform where we then munge it for you and present it back through the My Zerto Analytics portal.
And the question about there were several features with regards to ZA, and I guess the question is available now for Zerto Analytics rather?
Yep, they're all available now, so it's all up there already. Some do require data. As I kind of mentioned, we come out with Zerto Analytics on a monthly basis. Sometimes there are requirements to be on a particular version for some data, like network data. When we added that back in 6.5 and 7.0, you then had to be on those versions because we weren't capturing certain data and shipping it home. So sometimes your mileage will vary depending on what version you're on, but all of those types of questions can be answered in the help. It's in the top right corner of Zerto Analytics, and it can tell you exactly what you need.
And then I was just looking here, there's couple of questions on well, there was a question was what updates to AWS. We talked a lot about Azure, so and I know you did. Maybe Rob, if you could just sort of update what we talked about with regards to AWS. Maybe that person missed that.
Sure. So we made some updates on the security side. We've been obviously working underneath the hood. As we kind of talked about, with Azure, it took us a while to get to where we are with the scale sets. We've been doing some analysis and doing some under the hood work to prepare for a future release that will have a number of these great features that you're seeing in Azure as well. And we're working very closely with the AWS team on some of that stuff. a little bit, that's a little bit more roadmap-ish, but there's some great stuff coming down the pipe.
And actually, there is a question about 7.5. Will 7.5, sorry, be supported in VMware Cloud in AWS Marketplace? Maybe.
So right now, the VMware Cloud or VMC, VMware on AWS, VMware Cloud on AWS, we can't support it. That's actually a limitation by VMware and by AWS. We're working diligently to try to cross that chasm, which is one of the reasons why we thought it was very exciting to do the Azure VMware solution, because it's effectively the same thing except on Azure. So you pay Azure credits, you go into your Azure portal, you get the same VMware experience, and it's all running inside Azure. So same type of experience as you would get with the VMC, except we actually support it today.
Actually, there were a couple of questions on the Azure VMware solution, Rob. There was how do I get Azure VMware solution?
You can actually go get that through the Azure Marketplace. It's something you can sign up there for, and you can talk to, it's sold through Microsoft and through Azure.
And then there was a question about whether or not it's certified by VMware. Is it a certified solution?
It is a certified solution by VMware. So very much like the solution on AWS, it's a certified VMware solution.
Great. What about two questions on vVol support?
Sure. So we are working hard to support vVols. We don't have a stated release yet, but we'll be supporting. We look to be able to support it both on our VAIO and our standard solution. So we're looking at that. We don't have a time frame yet, but stay tuned.
Great. And then we'll going back to the store once. Actually, there's a question. Will Zerto support change of encryption algorithm of data in journal and then install once? So move to lattice encryption.
That's a good question. For the encryption, if it's handled, if you're talking about the encryption that's handled inside the store once, we actually, that's something that can happen with store once. We have, we're riding on top of that. So if you're using that out across the Catalyst, whatever Catalyst supports, we will support.
And then, sorry, I was just trying to catch up with some of the questions. There's still quite a few coming at. Is 7.5 compatible with cloud-based on OpenStack platforms?
It is not. So OpenStack, generally speaking, is a KVM platform. Today, we don't support KVM.
And then does Analytics also support or work with, I should say, Hyper-V?
It does, yes. We have many customers utilizing Zerto Analytics with Hyper-V today.
And then there was a question about the Zerto backups and having no impact on production. I know you sort of walked. Maybe you could just reiterate that about explaining why that's possible with regards to the no impact on the production.
Sure. Well, part of it is it's the same way that we've already replicated the data to the other side. We do that in an agentless, non-intrusive way outside of basically mirroring the IOs. So there is nothing that gets put onto the VM itself. When it gets to the other side, that's actually where we make that long-term retained copy by being able to do that incremental or full out of the journal. That way, you put it off to your second, you can make your second copy, your first copy, your second copy, and your third copy, all agentlessly, all non-disruptively on and get better ROI out of the gear you have in your DR site, because now you're actually utilizing it for your backups. That also reduces the amount of overhead that you have on the ESX infrastructure back on your production side. So again, you're moving all of your backups off there, which helps you get better utilization.
Excellent. So I think the, oh, I love this one actually. It's this is from Jamie. Actually, as we're on this webinar right now, I think one of our customers is actually moving from 7 to 7.5. So that's actually great. We can talk about that later. So I think that really sort of wraps up what we've got from a Q&A. What we'll do is we'll look at the rest of the questions and which ones that maybe we haven't answered or had time to today, and we'll get back to you. As a reminder, please do visit Zerto.com, and there is a banner that you on the home page that you can click on. It will then take you to the 7.5 landing page, where it will have all the information that you need, and as well as the recording and presentation slides will be available in about an hour or 2 hours at the most after this webinar. So I'd like to thank you, Rob, and thank everybody for participating in this webinar, and hope that you found this value and are excited about the new 7.5 capabilities as we are. So thank you, everyone, and thanks, Rob.
Thank you.